Good morning and welcome to exam review. Today we're going to pick up practice final. We're going to start with number 40 and I'm hoping and praying to get to 58. Not sure if I'm going to make it, but don't worry. Whatever I don't finish, I can finish on Monday. So happy morning to you. This is Friday and there is only 5 more days left to school. I only have 4 more days of students. I am excited. So just as a big announcement and a shout out to all of my classes. Honors, your exam is 70 multiple choice questions. Count them, John. 1 through 70 multiple choice. No essays, no short answers. Algebra 1, your exam is 65 multiple choice questions. It covers chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, Pythagorean theorem, radicals, and any other handouts I gave you. To the best of my knowledge, and I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, your final looks like your practice final. There may be a couple of questions that I inadvertently omitted to put on the practice final, but you guys should do great. Take advantage of all of my reviews. Number 40, graphing and exponential behavior. Graphing exponential behavior. If y equals a to the x and a is greater than 1, your curve is going to look like this. If y equals a to the x and a is a fraction, your graph is going to look like this. So how do you graph these? Glad you asked. We're going to make a table and pick points. So let's go ahead and do number 40 together. Y equals 4 times 2 to the x power. So here we go. Let's pick some values for x. Let's pick 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. So this is going to be 4 times 2 to the 0, which is 4 times 1, correct? This is going to be 4 times 2 to the 1, which is 4 times 2, or 8. This is going to be 4 times 2 to the second, which is 4 times 4, or 16. And this is going to be 4 times 2 to the -1, which is 4 times 1/2, which is what? 2. And this is 4 times 2 to the -2, which is 4 times 1/4, which is 1. Is that correct? Yes. So our correct graph here is going to look like this. So first of all, let's find what my y-intercept is. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like my y-intercept is what? 4. What's the only one that has a y-intercept of 4? B. So my correct answer is B, and I'm pretty much done. Are you guys with me? Okay, 41, 42, exponential behavior. Exponential behavior. Okay, you have 2 choices here. Choice 1 is graph the x and y's, graph the ordered pairs. If it makes an exponential curve, look and listen, that looks like either of these 2, then it's exponential behavior. If it forms any other type of a graph, a straight line, a horizontal line, a vertical line, a U-shaped curve, which is a parabola, then it is not exponential. The other method is for data to have exponential behavior. The x values increase or decrease by the same number, which means you're either adding or subtracting a constant number to each number to get the next. And the y's, you are multiplying or dividing by a constant. Does that make sense? Hello? So let's look at our first one. X, y. 3, 1, -1, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I could tell you already that even though the domain values, what are you subtracting from each one? X's, you are subtracting 2, and the y's, you are adding 1. So obviously this does not show exponential behavior. Why? Because the y's have to be multiplied or divided. The answer reads, no, the domain values are at regular intervals, but the ranges have a common sum of 1. No, choice A. Moving on, and we are having fun. Okay, I'm going to skip down to number 43. This is exponential growth. I will be nice and tell you that I did provide these formulas for you on the exam. So exponential growth is y equals c, which is the initial amount, times 1 plus r, the rate of growth, times t, the time, which is in years. Compound interest is a equals p times 1 plus r over n to the power of n times t. P is the principal, r is the rate, the interest rate, n is the number of times the interest is compounded, and t is the time in years. How do you know which formula to use? If it mentions compound interest, then you use the compound interest formula. And this is, the other formula is exponential growth. 43. Determine the amount of an investment if $100 is invested at an interest rate of 5%, compounded monthly for 5 years. Round your answer to the nearest whole dollar. So the first thing you want is the principal is $100. The second thing you want is the interest rate is 5%, which you're going to change to a decimal, which is 0.5. N is the number of times it's compounded. If it's compounded monthly, then it's 12 times. And T is the time in years, which is 5 years. So it's going to look like this. I'm not going to solve it, but I am setting it up for you. Are you with me? You can solve it from there. Is everybody good? Okay, make sure you guys read the directions. Okay, 44. The estimated population of Egypt in 2003 is 75 million. This is a 1.9% growth rate over the previous year. Assuming this continues, what's the population in 2009? Again, I'm going to set it up for you. So here we go. 44 is exponential growth. Y equals c times 1 plus r to the t. C is 75 million, and I'm not going to write all those zeros. I'm just going to leave it as 75. The rate of growth is 1.9%, so as a decimal would be 0.019. And t, the time in years, would be the difference between 2009 and 2003, which is 6 years. So it's going to be y equals 75 times the quantity 1 plus 0.019 to the power of 6, and I'm going to let you solve it. Am I refreshing your memory? So something that's growing at a constant rate is exponential growth. If they talk about money and compound interest, it's the compound interest formula. Please look on the practice final. It says solve by exponential growth. The reason it says exponential growth for both types of problems is because the money is also growing. So that would be a big hint, plus I wrote the formula right there. 45, exponential decay or depreciation. Remember, if you buy a brand new truck, as soon as you pull off the lot, it's going to depreciate several $1,000s. All right, so I'm going to do 46, which is a depreciation. Exponential decay. Y equals c times the quantity 1 minus r to the power of t. So let's go. 46, you buy a car, and the initial amount is $25,000. That's why I lease. I lease so I can get a new car every 2 or 3 years. But you have a payment, yep, but never nearly $25,000 worth. Rate of depreciation is 15%. Change it to a decimal, 0.15. What's the value of the car after 7 years? This is just like the Glade plugins. Plug it in, plug it in. Y equals 25,000 times 1 minus 0.15 to the power of 7. Are you with me? Yes. Okay, 47. I think we can all find the next 3 terms in a geometric sequence. 4, 12, 36, 108, blank, blank, blank. Okay, what are we multiplying each term by to find the next term?
3.
Times 3. So you would multiply 108 times 3, then that times 3, and so on. Okay, geometric means, I want to spend a minute here. For people listening on YouTube, I would like to sincerely apologize. I drank coffee this morning. Caffeine is a no-no for me. So I apologize, but I have limited time because we have a short class, so I am getting through as much as I can. To find the geometric means. By definition, the geometric means is the missing term between two non-consecutive terms in a geometric sequence. To find the geometric means. Geometric means, asterisk, es muy importante. It's very important. Always has two answers, a plus and a minus, okay? -9 blank -36. So you divide the third by the first. So -36 divided by -9 equals what? 4. So that's step 1. Take the plus and minus square root of the result of step 1. So what's plus and minus the square root of 4, guys? Plus and minus 2. And then you multiply the result of step 2 by the first term. So it's going to look like this. -9 times plus and minus 2 is going to give me a plus and minus 18. Are y'all with me? So the correct answer there would be C, like cat. Meow. Okay, one more time. To find the geometric means, divide the third term by the first. Second step, take the positive and negative square root of the result of step 1. Third, multiply the result of step 2 by the first term. So you can do 50. Okay, picking it up on 51, simplifying radicals. Remember, it's all on YouTube, so you can go back and listen. Again, I apologize. Radicals. I hope that you get radical grades on this final exam, like off the cuff. 51. The square root of 13 times the square root of 17, the last time I checked, is the square root of 221, which cannot be simplified. How about something like this? I'm not going to steal all your thunder, but I'll just go ahead and explain something like the square root of 24 x squared y cubed. Prime factoring is just such an important part of Algebra 1. Are you with me? So we have a pair of 2's, a pair of x's, and a pair of y's. So 1, 2, 1 x, and 1 y come out of jail, and my final answer under the radical would be 6y. Are y'all with me? So that's what you're going to do on 52. 53. You are never, ever, ever, ever allowed to leave a radical in the denominator. This is called rationalizing the denominator. To rationalize the denominator, you multiply top and bottom by radical 7, and you get 15 radical 7 over 7. Caution right here. So everybody listen. If this were a 16 and this were an 8, do you understand you must reduce it? Yes? 15 and 7 do not reduce. How about something like 54, where you have radical 3 over 7? You're going to rewrite the fraction as radical 3 over radical 7, then rationalize your denominator. 55, you can add, subtract anything as long as they are like terms. 55, 8 radical 5 minus 1 radical 5. You had 8 apples, you ate 1. How many apples do you have left, guys? 7 radical 5. Solving a radical equation. 56. The square root of 2a equals -6. Original equation. To get rid of the radical, square each side. So this is the square root of 2a squared equals -6 squared, which is 2a, correct, equals 36. Divide each side by 2, and you get a equals 18. Okay. check your solution. Let me explain to you why. Watch what happens. When you check your work, 2 times 18 equals negative 6. The square root of 36 equals negative 6. Does 6 equal negative 6? No. Or you could be really fancy and say, does plus and minus 6 equal negative 6? No. So what would your answer be? No solution. So I caution you on that, and I refer you back to those lessons. You always have to check your answer. You're going to get, remember, the word is extraneous. In the word extraneous is extra. This, when you square something that's under a radical, it can cause you to get extraneous, non-true solutions. Question? It's on the whole thing I gave you with radicals, but it could be in chapter 7 as well. A lot of it, this in your book is in 7, but a lot of it I taught when it was there, and then I handled it again when I retaught radicals. Okay, here we go. I'm almost done. 58 and 59. Oh, 58. Yes, I can do it. If the bell rings, please stay. Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It only works for a right triangle. The legs are a and b. C is the side opposite the right angle. 3 fun facts about side C. It's called the hypotenuse. It's the longest side, the slanted side, and the side opposite. If given 2 sides, you should find the missing side. So in this one, we're given A is 60 and side C is 100. So you plug it in. I know there's something else I left off, so stay with me. So it would be 60 squared plus b squared equals 100 squared. Are y'all with me? 3,600 plus b squared equals, is that right? Subtract 3,600 from each side, and you get b squared equals 6,400. Take the square root of each side, and b equals 80, correct? Okay, so this is the other question that I believe I left off. If given 3 sides, this is called the converse or the corollary to the Pythagorean theorem. Remember that handout I gave you on Pythagorean theorem? Can these 3 sides form a right triangle? Stay with me. Stay with me. Okay, so if A equals 3, B equals 4, and C equals 8, plug them in. If 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 8 squared, then your answer would be yes. 9 plus 16 does not equal 64. No. Because, because 9 plus 16 does not equal 64, or no, because 3 squared plus 4 squared does not equal 8 squared. I did it. Thank you. Bye. That's a wrap. Have a great day. This concludes our review. Study hard. Hey, guys, come in on Monday with lots of questions for me.